Goodwood Festival is an amazing event in as much as it allows everybody to get close to the cars. The Formula One races are obviously why we exist, and they're the big competitive events. But unfortunately, due to their sheer size, it's difficult for people to get close to the cars and really see them. Whereas here, as you can see, the cars are coming close by. As they're sitting here in the holding area, then everybody can come up and have a good look around them. So I think for the enthusiasts, it's a very different experience. I guess really this is a little bit more like Formula One races used to be 20 or 30 or 40 years ago, where people could wander around the paddocks and see the cars close up, see the drivers, because the crowds were so much smaller. As Formula One's become a bigger and bigger worldwide event, it's all changed, and that reflects in the size of the teams. I started in motor racing in 1980, and I was hired as a junior aerodynamicist, which also turned out to be a senior aerodynamicist. That's the size of the aerodynamic teams in those days. Now we've got 50 or more aerodynamicists. The teams are probably 10 times as big as they were 30 years ago. My earliest memory, actually, I think it was 1973, when my parents took me to Silverstone and we sat in the woodcut grandstand. I do remember being treated to a beef burger, which was quite unusual for my parents, who are quite health conscious. Going up and sitting in the stands, dropping my burger and rushing downstairs, picking it up from all the muck underneath and dusting it off and eating it anyway. And then, having just had the burger, the race started. And I think it was Jody Scheckter who lost it coming through Woodcut and caused about a 12-car pile-up in which remarkably nobody was badly hurt, but a lot of destroyed cars. Oh crikey, this is all a bit different, isn't it? This much carnage in just one lap. It was I think it was one of the most notorious Grand Prix for that one. I just happened to be sitting right there, so quite a baptism of fire as a spectator. Valencia, we introduced a new bodywork package and a few other changes, slightly different rear suspension geometry, which we'd also had our first look at in Montreal. And certainly in Valencia that seemed to work very well, but it's difficult to know how that will carry forwards at the moment. We've seen all season that occasionally teams will make this huge performance gap to the rest of the field. Rosberg in China, Button in Melbourne, and then they haven't managed to carry it through to subsequent races. So I guess in that sense, going to Silverstone, the little bit of trepidation of hoping that we can continue our Valencia form. Silverstone's obviously the home Grand Prix, which, whilst you could argue from a points point of view it makes no difference, it's always a difference for us. It's a race which, if we can do well, we feel particularly proud of. Particularly good feeling on Sunday evening, particularly if you tend to stay up there. How will it go? Difficult to know. It's a very high-speed track, and as such, it's different to Valencia, where we've just come from, which is all about slow-speed corners and traction events. Silverstone's all about high-speed corners and keeping your downforce in good balance at high speed. A very different circuit. One first time, apart from perhaps Barcelona, where we visited such a circuit. So, not being able to test now, it's difficult to know exactly how it will go. This season's probably been the most unpredictable season I can remember. So many different winners in the first, well, different winner in every race for the first 7 races is quite remarkable. And lots of constructors winning races as well. It's difficult to understand exactly why that has been. Certainly the grid has closed up, and that is partly the result of the fact that we're the 4th year into a relatively stable set of regulations, so everybody's converging in terms of design solutions. But one has to feel that the tyres are a big factor as well. Certainly it's quite difficult keeping the tyres in the right band. They have quite a narrow operating window, and if you get them just right, then you are very competitive. And if you fall out of that window, then you fall backwards very quickly. As I say, one imagines that it's going to settle down. People learn how to use the tyres better. Perhaps one team will come up with a new aerodynamic solution that will also give it a step forwards. If and when that will happen in the season is impossible to predict, I would say.